Are you looking for ways to make millions of coins in Madden 21 Ultimate Team without spending a lot of money? Tired of facing teams in Weekend League with a God Squad and you can't afford certain cards? Become a YouTube member today and get instant access to my #1 coin making method ebook, which is available to all Stranger Gang Plus members and higher. The link to become a YouTube member can be found in the description of every single video of mine, and as soon as you join, just check the community section to find all the videos, which are updated weekly. This is a method that's not dependent on any promo. It works all year round and is the #1 coin making method and has made me millions of coins in MUT throughout the years. Yo! What's going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 21 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the best cards in MUT 21 to use your 89 to 90 overall power-up pass on. I'm sure a lot of you guys are grinding right now. Some of you might even be at level 60 already. But once you get there, you do get an 89 to 90 overall power-up pass. So we're going to help you out making the best decision on which card to use that on. Best player, best financial decision. Also, along your grind, you have probably earned another 87 to 88 overall power-up pass. So if you're wondering who to use that one on, there is going to be a circle with the letter I in the upper right part of your screen. Go ahead and click that. That's going to show you guys the best cards for the 87 to 88 power-up pass. And if you don't even know how to use a power-up pass, I do have a tutorial video on that. That'll be linked to this one as well. So make sure you go check out those videos. Now, one thing that I will always say to you guys, actually two things. When it comes to using up power-up passes, #1, write down where you used it at, because there's no mechanic within the game that tells you where you put this power-up pass, and later on down the road, you may want to use it on a different card. Sometimes prices fluctuate on some of these cards, basically based off of upgrades they might get future on, and these cards become really expensive, and you might want to go back and get this power-up pass, so make sure you write it down. I have a spreadsheet where I, kind of write all mine and take notes on it and whatnot, but do something. Notepad, notes on your phone, something. Write it down. #2, I always check the pricing. So if it happens to be a card that maybe I already own and I want to get some value in return, I take a look at what cards are costing the most right now and where can I maybe get some coin out of this. So right now in front of you here, I have sorted all of the 89 to 90 overall cards, and they're sorted by price. So obviously, some of these guys, most of these guys on this list, sorted by price, are going to be on my list that I'm going to help you guys out with. So we got Denzel Ward, Jamal Adams, Brandon Cooks, Aaron Rodgers, Mark Andrews, Julio Jones, TJ Watt. If we scroll a little bit further down the list, I mean, you're going to notice a trend here. A lot of these cards are guys who had limited cards, and limited cards generally are going to be more expensive because they are limited. It's pretty common, right? So let's go through my list here, and we're going to start out with Julio Jones. Now, the good thing about this list here is I have almost every single one of these cards, so I can give you a little bit more of a perspective on how well they play. And this Julio Jones card is a monster. So two things to talk about with this. Three things, technically. His power-up is pretty cheap. It was a lot more expensive months ago, or a month ago. Down to 14, 15K, you can't beat that. There is a little bit of a price gap in between these right now, though, so be careful if you do want to use this card. He can get Route Technician and Slot Apprentice. Now, I know Julio's typically not a slot receiver, but one glitchy thing you can do with this card is put him as your slot receiver, put Slot Apprentice on him, put Route Technician on him. That's going to help him beat those man coverages. And then you got a bunch of different routes that you can put him on. Corner routes, post routes, crossing routes. Mixed with that Route Technician, he's going to get a lot of separation from man coverage, which, a lot of people are struggling with this year. Also, you get an 85 to 86 power-up pass, and you can use it on his Core Elite. Now, 45K for the Core Elite's not really a bad price at all, but you're looking 15K for, the base power-up pass here, and then a power-up pass on his 89 overall. You got one of the top receivers in the game, and you're basically only spending the training on it. Training and maybe 14K. So Julio, because of his abilities and the affordability of this card, is definitely good use for your power-up pass. Probably not the best receiver on the list, but I think financially it's a good decision. So everybody needs a quarterback on their team. Aaron Rodgers, a great example for this power-up pass. Look how cheap His base power-up is literally under 3,000 coins. His core elite is about 15k, so that's really affordable. And then you got the limited card that you would be replacing with that power-up pass. One thing I'll say with this, if you're a pocket passer, if you don't really prefer or need a mobile quarterback, really good option right here, because he's got a little bit of speed, but very accurate. You know, Dan Marino is way slower than him, and this is kind of a good middle of the road. If you like mobile quarterbacks, because of the current market crash, Lamar Jackson, extremely cheap, his 89 overall. Even Michael Vick, who's usually a highly coveted card, and I shouldn't say usually because he still is, his card's really cheap. I'm surprised at how cheap it was to get a brand new Michael Vick on the market. So that's why I would pass on this card, because there's mobile quarterbacks that are at a very, very affordable price, and there's better options. But if you really desperately need a quarterback and you don't want to use Vick or Lamar or Mahomes or Marino, Aaron Rodgers, great option. Now, pass rushing is definitely nerfed. It doesn't, people don't get to the quarterback very often, but if you need a pass rusher, outside linebacker, Lawrence Taylor. Good thing about this card is the power up. You see it's going for like 17, 18k. You can actually do the solo and get this card for free right now, and it's a little pro tip here. Even if you don't want to use your power up pass on this card, go do the solo, just sell the card. I mean, that's pretty, 17k for a solo is not bad work, man. But if you do get that power up for free, then take a look at the 90 overall Lawrence Taylor. Here's the limited. You can't really use him, but it's the same card powered up. It's going to give you a 91. Very good pass rusher. He's got a lot of speed. He gets to the outside. Best pass rusher on my main squad. He gets home, I'd say he gets maybe a sack once every other game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you've been playing this game since the launch, you know it's incredibly hard to get a pass rush. He's going to make your life a little bit easier. Also, he does a very, very good job of running down faster quarterbacks. Vick, Lamar, when those guys get outside of the pocket, he's almost always there pursuing them and making tackles that no other defensive lineman, no other outside of linebacker who's such a good pass rusher is also going to be able to make chasing down a quarterback. So if you need a pass rusher, need a good defensive player, Lawrence Taylor's there for you. So let's talk about Brandon Cooks, the second best, or I should say the first best wide receiver, the second wide receiver we're talking about. The only thing with this card is the base power up 70k. So talked about Julio earlier. Brandon Cooks base power up way more expensive. Now, is he a better card? Here's another thing I want you to keep in mind. My experience could be different from yours, but when this card first came out, I bought it, I used it, really good card. It got up to about 2 million coins, right? And I said, I gotta sell this thing. I'm getting some coins back. I paid like 1.3 for it, sold it for 2 million, made some coin off of it. I used his power up that was like an 88 overall. I powered him all the way up as far as you could go without having the 90, and I noticed no difference in play. So this is why I say, it's a good card to use your power up pass on, and maybe I just play differently than you do, and that's certainly understandable. But the fact that his card without the limited, without the 90, gave me the same production as it did with that very expensive card is why I would personally say lay off it, or just buy the power up, test him out at the 88 overall. If you really like him, then go ahead and use that power up pass. But honestly, if I had to take one or the other, yes, Brandon Cooks is a little bit faster. Just feels like Julio gets open more. And I would expect, I'm thinking down the road here, but I would think Julio would probably get at least 2 more upgrades a season, whereas Brandon Cooks might not be as likely to get as many upgrades as Julio. Time will tell. I could be wrong. Hey, Cooks just scored a touchdown this past week during week 3, so maybe. But I would take Julio over Brandon Cooks. Extremely unpopular opinion, but that's what I would say. No surprise here. 2 more to go. One of them is Jamal Adams. Great card. This is who I'm actually going to be using my power up pass on. But the main reason that I am is because I showed you guys this list over on MUT. At the time that I made this decision, he was the most expensive card. He still kind of is. Him and Denzel Ward have been going back and forth. But what I did is before the level cap happened, I sold my Jamal Adams because I knew it was going to be him or Ward. I have both of the cards. Jamal Adams, really good card, extremely versatile. Another problem here though, power up card, 107k, very expensive. Good news is on the 84, you can use a power up pass there, and you got, I think, 3 or 4 83 to 84 overall power up passes, so though you're going to be spending 107k here or over 100k here, you're spending no money on this if you use one of your other power-up passes, and then you're just getting this monster of a card. Just extremely versatile, man coverage, zone coverage, speed, hit power, he can do it all. I will say this, not that it's a bad card, but for me, I've had an underwhelming experience. He just hasn't been as dominant as I wanted him to be, but still a really good card. Don't let that discourage you. The stats, you know, he's just good. He's just good. Got injured yesterday, so I don't know if that's going to play a part in his season. I don't know what the diagnosis is there, but, you know, you think he's going to get at least one more upgrade in a couple months, and that card's going to be even better. But, you know, spending 100k on a power-up and then using 2 power-up passes to get this guy on your team, it's definitely worth it. Go for it for sure. And finally, the last item on my list, and even though I just told you guys I'm using my power-up pass on Jamal Adams, I think Denzel Ward is probably the best choice for you. Now, you can get his core power-up for under 100k, so a little bit cheaper than Jamal Adams. This card, the Core Elite, is super cheap if you want to buy it, but you probably get 5 or 6 of those 80 to 81 or 68 to 81 overall power-up passes. You got a bunch of them, and there's not many people you need to use these on, honestly. So we're looking at under 100k, free card here with a power-up pass, and then you're getting probably the top corner. If he's a little bit behind Dion, I'm not going to argue there. You know, he's not great in zone, but if you're playing the man coverage meta right now, he's just really good. It took me about 5 to 7 games before he kind of warmed up to me, but since then, he's been the biggest playmaker on my defense. Speed, just man coverage, acceleration, he's everywhere. He makes plays. One of my favorite cards so far in this year's game. I would be a little concerned of lack of upgrades for him. I don't know if he'll get another card. Maybe he will eventually. I think he'll get one more at least, but I don't know how long we're going to be between there and then. But I told you guys in the beginning of the video, look at the price. Let price pay a factor. Obviously, this card, Jamal Adams, are the most expensive cards by far. It's because people want him. He plays, or they play very well. So top 2 choices up to you, but you got to go with either Jamal Adams or Denzel Ward for your defense. If any of those other guys make an argument for why you need to fit them on your roster, totally get it, but I would really be leaning towards Denzel Ward and Jamal Adams. Those are my top 2. Let me know down below who you use your power-up pass on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Popular Stranger, and I'm out. Peace!